When Senator Sanders has been asked about how this all ends, he seems to be saying now that even if you beat him in the primary, it's not necessarily a given that he will implore all of his supporters to go out and work for you. He says that he thinks that they'll support you if basically you adopt some of his platform on the issues that are most important to him. He's specifically talked about Wall Street and some other things in his platform. Does that make sense to you? Is that something that you'd be open to? Are there significant enough differences between you on what you'd like to do, for example, about Wall Street, that that's a bridge too far?
Well, Rachel, let's look where we are right now. I've got 10.4 million votes. I have 2.7 million more votes, real people showing up to cast their vote, to express their opinion, than Senator Sanders. I have a bigger lead in pledged delegates than Senator Obama, when I ran against him in 2008, ever had over me. I am winning, and I'm winning because of what I stand for and what I've done and what my ideas are. So,
well, you know, this is even difficult for me to watch, I have to admit, because of the arrogance that you have, because of the condescending tone that you have towards an opponent. This is not humane, you know. This is not the way you treat an opponent, especially not when you're winning. Rachel Maddow asked a very fair question there. You're going to need the supporters of Bernie Sanders if you want to win in November. You're going to need them, so your arrogance is even wrong. It's tactically even not a good thing to do. After all, you're not such a good campaigner. Huh? I'm having that feeling since a long time already, and maybe it's time to literally say it. Maybe it's time somebody should say it. You're not such a good campaigner. You say the wrong things at the wrong moment, and what kills you is your arrogance. You must not forget, Mrs. Clinton, those Bernie Sanders supporters, and I'll tell you honestly, I am a Bernie Sanders supporter, and I feel humiliated. I feel beaten, I feel humiliated by the way you speak. They have issues like money in politics, like free education for everybody. They have issues like the growing income inequality in America. Bernie Sanders said nowadays in America the wealthiest 0.1%, 0.1% owns as much wealth as the bottom 90%. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I had to look it up on Google, and well, the numbers are correct. The numbers are correct. This is an issue that worries the Bernie Sanders supporters. That's why they vote for Bernie Sanders. And Rachel Maddow logically asks you a very clear question, a very fair question. What are you going to do to address those issues and to make the Bernie Sanders voters vote for you? And your answer, Mrs. Clinton, basically comes down to, well, you know what? I'm winning. You're just gonna have to accept that. You're gonna have to vote for me because I'm winning. Well, this is not the way to convince people to vote for you. This is not the way that people feel respected. I'm angry, you know, the way you answer this makes me so angry. Before, I never liked you, and Mrs. Clinton, I would never vote for you. Even if I could, I would never vote for you. But now I'm even starting to hate you, and believe me, Mrs. Clinton, a lot of people online, when you see the comments under the YouTube video of this, a lot of people are disgusted, just like me, because of your arrogance. Is that a reason to vote for you? Because you're winning? No, that's called arrogance. A good leader, a good winner, is something that is critical of himself. Is somebody that dares to ask questions about himself. Am I doing the right thing? Are my ideas right? But you never do that. Look at your answer. I am winning, just accept it. But you're not finished yet. Rachel Maddow is going to continue to ask you that question, and look at the answer that you will give to that. Then let's watch.
Am I right in hearing that as basically you saying that there's nothing you're going to do differently than you're already doing as a way to try to win over his supporters, even at the end of the primary season?
Well, let's look what happened in 2008, because that's the closest example. Then Senator Obama and I ran a really hard race. It was so much closer than the race right now between me and Senator Sanders.
Just a minute. A person that had a good education, a person with good manners says Bernie Sanders and me, or Senator Sanders and me, not me and Senator Sanders. Just to let you know. Continue.
We had pretty much the same amount of popular vote. By some measures, I had slightly more popular vote. He had slightly more pledged delegates. We got to the end in June, and I did not put down conditions. I didn't say, you know what, if Senator Obama does X, Y, and Z, maybe I'll support him. I said, I am supporting Senator Obama, because no matter what our differences might be, they pale in comparison to the differences between us and the Republicans.
Well, very good, Mrs. Clinton. Very good again. So Rachel Maddow pushes you a little bit on this. She says, so what you're basically saying is, I'm not going to do anything to make the Bernie Sanders voters vote for me. Just get lost. That's what you're basically saying there. They can do whatever they want. I don't need them anymore. I don't need them anymore because I'm winning. And then you say, you turn to the 2008 election and you say, well, I supported Senator Obama without asking conditions. Who is that little old Jew? Who does he think he is? To put conditions? Well, that's exactly why I like Bernie Sanders, because he does politics in a different way. He's not a sociopath like you, because that's what you are, a sociopath. And what is so typical for sociopaths is that they cannot put themselves in somebody else's shoes. Clearly you are not capable of putting yourself in the shoes of the Bernie Sanders supporters. You are not capable, not even technically capable, to look at the world through the eyes of somebody else. What are his feelings? What are the things that he cares about? What does he want? What are the issues that they want to see addressed? No, I'm winning. And I did the same in 2008. Barack Obama won, and like a good girl, I decided to support him because I could not do anything else. So I expect Bernie Sanders to do the same thing. Just be a good boy and support me. And don't ask me to do anything, because who do you think you are? You cannot ask me anything. I'm a Clinton. I decided to be president when I was 3 already. I'm entitled to the presidency. Who do you think you are to put some conditions here? Well, those conditions, Mrs. Clinton, are the issues that not only Bernie Sanders cares about, but also his voters. The issues that I just talked to you about. The real issues that this country is facing, they want an answer to those things. And that's why they support him. And when they have to support you, you're gonna have to tell them what your answer to those issues is. But no, you said, no, I'm not going to do anything. Like Rachel Maddow understood very well. You're saying, I'm not going to do anything for the Bernie Sanders supporters. I don't need them anymore. And I was a good girl in 2008 when I supported Barack Obama. So I expect you to do the same thing like a good boy, Senator Sanders. Okay? Are you going to listen to Mama now and be a good boy? You see, this is a condescending way to speak to other people, and it makes me angry. I repeat it, I have even difficulty to watch this tape, to look at your face, to look at your arrogance, to see in what kind of condescending way you even answer the question. You dismiss the question. I don't have to do anything for Bernie Sanders, I'm winning. But you're not finished yet, huh? Still, you're not finished yet. Rachel Maddow is going to push a bit further, And look at the answer that you will give to that. This is really...
That was June 7th, 2008, when you got out of the race and endorsed President Obama. June 7th, 2016 will be the California primary this year. Is that when you, if you're ahead in the vote, if you're ahead in pledged delegates?
I am ahead in the vote, Rachel. I am way ahead in the vote. On June 7th. No, wait a minute. Look, I have the greatest respect for Senator Sanders, but really, what he and his supporters are now saying just doesn't add up. I have 2.7 million more votes than he has. I have more than 250 more pledged delegates. I'm very proud of the campaign that we have run and the support we have gotten. And of course, we're going to work together. As I said, I share a lot of the same goals. We are going to work together, but I am ahead. And let's start from that premise while we talk about what happens next. Okay.
Well, Mrs. Clinton, I was disgusted before, but now I'm vomiting. I'm really vomiting. It just doesn't add up. What you're saying is, I have the greatest respect for Bernie Sanders. Well, nobody believes that, but okay. You say, I have the greatest respect for Senator Sanders, but he cannot count. He cannot even count. Are you going to tell me how to count, Mrs. Clinton? Is that really what you think you have to do? And is that the way you're going to try to win over the vote of the Bernie Sanders supporters? By telling them that they cannot even count? What many people online said in their comments on this YouTube clip was, look at her eyes. Now that's really what it comes down to. Look at your eyes. I hope you will watch this tape when you come home. I know you won't, and even if you do, you won't even see it, but look at your eyes, the hatred, the arrogance. You don't even let Rachel Maddow ask her question. She wanted to ask a question about the California primary. I don't know what the question was, because you didn't even let her ask it. She started with saying, well, if you are winning, well, I am winning, just accept it, it's over, Bernie, I am winning. Well, nobody doubts that. I just said it. Yes, okay, Mrs. Clinton, you are winning. Okay, you are winning. But is that a reason not even to let Rachel Maddow ask her question? Can you at least, when you're winning, okay, when you're winning, have the decency to let somebody ask her question? Maybe it was a good question that she wanted to ask. I don't even know, because you didn't even let her ask the question. And by the way, there's something else that I want to say. Not that it matters too much anymore, but what you're saying is not even accurate. You say I have 2.4 million more votes than Bernie Sanders. Yeah, but that's because Bernie Sanders won the caucuses and you win the primaries. A caucus is more like a closed meeting, in fact, and only a few thousand people show up there. So if you count in that way, it's not very difficult to say I have 2.4 million more votes than Bernie Sanders. And by the way, why do you say that? You're basically saying again, I'm not going to do anything for the Bernie Sanders supporters. I don't have to, because I'm winning. Just accept it, little boy. This is so... I hate you, Mrs. Clinton. I hate you because of that look in your eyes when you were answering that question. Well, you were not even answering. You interrupted Rachel Maddow when she asked you that question. Well, if you win in the California race, I am winning, accept it. And then at the end you say, let's start from that premise. So what you're basically saying there is, we should not even talk about Bernie Sanders anymore. You brush Bernie Sanders aside. Huh? Let's not talk about him anymore. Let's just only talk about me. That's what you're saying there. But you're not finished. Huh?
Look, I think we have much more in common, and I want to unify the party. But my Wall Street plan is much more specific than his. We saw that when he couldn't even answer questions in the New York Daily News interview.
Well, that's a lie, Mrs. Clinton. That's not only arrogant, that's even a lie. Your Wall Street plan is as vague as it can be. What you said during the debates is basically that you went there and that you said, cut it out. Oh, really? They must have been impressed by that, because now the banks that were too big to fail in 2007 are even bigger now than they were in 2007. So I don't think your words made much of an impression. And then what you say about, oh, come on, the New York Daily interview with Bernie Sanders. Experts said that his answer was factually correct. But you keep on telling this story, of course, that Bernie Sanders doesn't even know what he's talking about. You little boy, you don't even know what you're talking about. Step aside and let the adults do the work now. Adults like me, okay? You go and, well, play with your grandchildren, okay? That's basically what you're saying, and that is arrogant, Mrs. Clinton. That makes me angry. And not only me, you're making everybody angry. And don't underestimate us, because there's something else I want to say. You seem to think everything is, well, arranged already now. You're going to win the general election. Of course you're going to win that, because you're a Clinton. Well, first of all, I would like to advise Bernie Sanders, to beg Bernie Sanders even. I don't know if he's going to watch this video. I don't think he has time to watch my YouTube clips. Okay, alright, but I hope that there will be a movement in America that will beg Bernie Sanders to run as a third-party candidate, because he can still do that, eh? And I know, of course, now you're going to say, yeah, but then we may end up with a Trump presidency. Well, I don't like Trump. But really, if it comes down to a race between you and Donald Trump, I would support Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a clown and a narcissist. Okay, that may be true, but you are a sociopath. So if I have to choose between a clown and a sociopath, sorry, I choose the clown. Really. I think Donald Trump is a joke, but is a better choice than you. The only combination in which I would support you is if it would come down to a race between you and Ted Cruz. Then I would say, okay, now we really have to choose the lesser of two evils, because Ted Cruz is even more dangerous than you. So then, okay, I would say let's support Hillary Clinton, because everything is better than Ted Cruz. But for the rest, there is still John Kasich too, and if it comes down to a contested convention in the Republican Party, John Kasich, he could easily beat you. If they are intelligent, they let John Kasich run, because no doubt about that. John Kasich is a normal man, comes from a normal family. His father was a mailman. He knows what a normal life looks like. So I would support him over you. I would even support Donald Trump over you. So you don't care, do you? You don't care. You don't need the Bernie Sanders supporters anymore, because you're winning. Well, beware, Mrs. Clinton, beware, because you may pay a very heavy price for your arrogance, and I hope you will.